Welcome to Funimation 3D. Have you ever pressed a button on a toy and zoom, it starts moving? Or turned on a flashlight and suddenly you have a bright beam in the dark? Have you ever wondered where that power comes from, especially when there is no plug in the wall? Today, you and I are going on a tiny, magical science adventure to meet one of the greatest little helpers in your world, the battery. A battery is a small power pack. It is like a lunchbox full of energy. You can hold it in your hand, but it can make big things happen. Batteries help toys run, remotes work, clocks tick, and flashlights shine. Even some tablets and phones have batteries inside them. Batteries are like quiet heroes. They do their job without talking, and you only notice them when they are missing. So what is a battery really? A battery is something that stores energy and then sends that energy out to power a device. The cool part is how it stores energy. A battery stores energy as chemical energy. Chemical energy is like energy locked inside special materials, kind of like a secret treasure stored in a tiny chest. When the battery is used, it turns that stored energy into electrical energy that can travel through wires to make things work. Now let's look at the ends of a battery. If you have ever seen a regular battery, you may notice it has two different ends. One end is marked with a plus sign, like this. Plus, that is the positive end. The other end is marked with a minus sign, like this. Minus. That is the negative end. These ends are super important. They are like two doors on an energy train station. The battery wants to push tiny moving particles from one side to the other, but it needs the right path to do it. Those tiny moving particles are called electrons. That word sounds big, but the idea is simple. Electrons are teeny tiny pieces that can move through a metal wire, like tiny travelers running along a road. You can imagine them as a busy line of little ants carrying energy. You cannot see them, but they are there, moving fast when a circuit is complete. A circuit is a complete loop, like a round track. For a device to work, the electricity has to travel in a loop, out of the battery, through the wire and device, and back into the battery. If the loop is broken, the travelers cannot keep going. No loop means no power. That's why a flashlight won't turn on if the battery is not placed correctly or if something inside is not connected. So how does the battery make the electrons move? Think of the battery as an energy factory with a tiny push machine inside. The chemical energy inside the battery creates a push that encourages electrons to move from the negative end through the circuit toward the positive end. It's like the battery is saying, "Okay, tiny travelers, time to go on an adventure. Follow the power road." When electrons travel through a device, they help it do work. In a flashlight, the electrons travel through a tiny light bulb, or LED, and help make light. In a toy car, they travel through a motor and help it spin. In a clock, they help the tiny parts keep time. The battery doesn't give the device light or movement directly. It gives it a flow of electrical energy, and the device turns that energy into the job it needs to do. Have you ever wondered why you need both ends of the battery to touch the device? Here's why. The negative end is like the go door, and the positive end is like the return door. If you only connect one end, the electrons don't have a full loop to travel. Imagine trying to run a racetrack with a giant hole in it. You'd have to stop. That's what happens when the circuit is not complete. Now, let's do a simple demo that you can imagine clearly. Picture a battery, a small light bulb, and two short wires. If you connect one wire from the negative end of the battery to the metal part of the bulb, and the other wire from the positive end of the battery to the other metal part of the bulb, you make a complete loop. Suddenly, the bulb lights up. Why? Because now your tiny travelers, the electrons, have a full road to run on. They leave the negative end, travel through the wire, pass through the bulb, and return to the positive end. The bulb glows because the electrons are moving through it and delivering energy. If you lift one wire off for just a second, the light goes out. That's because the loop is broken. The tiny travelers are like, "Uh-oh, road closed!" And they stop flowing. Put the wire back, the loop is complete again, and the light comes back on. It almost feels like magic, but it's science magic, real science. Now, let's imagine the same idea with a toy car. The battery connects to the toy's circuit inside. When you turn the toy on, you complete the loop. Electrons rush through the tiny power rods inside the toy and reach the motor. The motor uses the energy to spin, and the wheels turn. The toy zooms across the floor like it's chasing an invisible cheese snack. But here is another big question. Why do batteries run out? Have you ever picked up a remote and it suddenly stops working? Or your toy starts moving slowly like it's sleepy? That's the battery getting tired. Remember the battery's chemical energy treasure chest? Inside the battery, the chemicals can only do the push for a certain amount of time. Little by little, as the battery is used, the chemicals change. The battery's push becomes weaker. The tiny travelers don't get pushed as strongly, so less electrical energy flows. The device gets dimmer, slower, or stops. So a battery running out means it doesn't have enough chemical energy left to make a strong push. It's like your energy factory is low on fuel. Some batteries can be recharged, like the ones in phones or tablets. Recharging is like refilling the treasure chest. It uses electricity from a charger to help reset the chemicals inside, so the battery can store energy again. Other batteries, like many small disposable ones, are used up and then need to be replaced. Have you ever wondered why batteries have different sizes? Some are tiny, some are big, some are flat like buttons. Different devices need different amounts of power. A small toy might need a small battery. A big device might need a stronger battery. Bigger batteries can often store more energy, like a bigger lunchbox holding more food. Here's a fun way to remember everything. Imagine the battery as a tiny castle energy factory. Inside, chemical energy is the stored treasure. The negative end is the send-out gate, and the positive end is the welcome back gate. The electrons are tiny travelers. The wire is the power road. The device is the place where the travelers do a job, like making light or turning wheels. And the circuit is the full loop that keeps the travelers moving. When the loop is complete, power flows. When the loop is broken, everything stops. And when the chemical treasure is used up, the battery runs out. Next time you hold a battery, you can smile and think, "You are small, but you are mighty." You can also remember to be safe and responsible with batteries. Use them the right way in the right devices, and ask an adult for help if you ever see a battery that looks damaged or leaking. Batteries are awesome helpers when we treat them carefully. Have you ever wondered what other tiny things in your life are secretly doing huge jobs? Science is full of surprises, and your world is packed with invisible adventures happening every day. If you enjoyed this magical battery story, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Funimation 3D so you never miss a fun, simple science adventure. See you next time!